Hello again, it's Alex, and
Lynn.
welcome to episode 9 of our Interrail series. In this episode, we go to three cities actually. Well, technically four, because we start in Gorizia and we go to Trieste a bit further south, which is actually a bit out of the way, but I wanted to go to explore more family things. Then we make a brief stop in Venice just because the train to Milan stops there, and then Milan. It was actually going to be two episodes originally, but I realized I didn't have enough footage for two, and I didn't feel like making two. So we have one. So enjoy.
Enjoy.
If you look on a map, you'll notice that Trieste is actually to the southeast of where Gorizia is, so more or less the opposite direction we needed to go. But the main reason for going was because there was concentration camps were all over Europe during the Nazi era, and there's one in Trieste that supposedly my great uncle, the son of the my great grandparents who were buried in Shempitu Prigurizi. So we thought it would be good to go there, and I'd heard good things about the city. So we had the rail passes. It wasn't like it costed anything extra, and based on that, it was just more why not. Um, it's the Adriatic, which extends from the Mediterranean. If I remember correctly, the train ride to Trieste took around an hour and 15 minutes. And once we got there, our first priority was finding a place to put our bags because we were only going to be there for maybe 4 or 5 hours. And we wouldn't have managed to carry the bags around the whole time. We spent a good 10 to 15 minutes, of which there is footage, looking for lockers with no luck. And we did eventually find a place, a manned place, where we could leave our bags for the day. The signage was not clear. That's all I can say. And there's a bus. What you're seeing here is once we arrived closer to where the concentration camp was. What were your initial thoughts about Trieste?
It was cute.
Cute? I mean, it's a word choice, I suppose. And yeah, before we went there, we saw a supermarket along the way, so of course I wanted to stop because that's what I tend to do. No shame in it. We needed water and a chance to just see more of the local culture or whatever excuse I use to go in and potentially buy things. Yeah, they had a self service wine dispenser. That was interesting. We did find the water. Um, it was pretty hot. There was no sun out that day. Wait, that's the building right there. So you have to go that way. And then, luckily, it wasn't too much further to the actual camp itself, which was called, as you see there, Riseria di San Saba, because it was actually a former rice factory that or mill that was converted into a concentration camp. And to make a point, you've heard a lot about camps like Auschwitz and Birkenau or Dachau, these other places, which were extermination camps, which means people sent there were sent there with the clear intent of killing them. Whereas concentration camps did have facilities to kill people, and upwards of 3,000 people died in this one here you're seeing. There was also room for prisoners and things, and others who weren't necessarily destined to die, like my great uncle. But nonetheless, it was still, of course, harrowing to see, and then read the stories, and then yeah, see what used to be remains of the crematorium before it was destroyed by Nazis. But yeah. I decided to not add too much commentary to the previous parts just because, yeah, the images speak for themselves. Luckily, my great uncle did, in fact, make it out of here, and he actually later moved to Australia. I did not get to meet him during his lifetime, but that's quite a voyage to go from a political prisoner to the other side of the earth and then develop an Australian accent as an Italian. Um, so that's a cool story, at least a bright spot in the otherwise dismal camp. Once we were done with San Saba, we decided to go back into the city because the train we were going to take for to Venice and Milan was, we gave ourselves ample time just so we weren't rushed, and we used that time to go around the city. I do, if I remember correctly, it was around the sort of whatever the Italian equivalent of siesta time is, and it was hard finding a place. And we got some food. It was a nice city, but there wasn't really anything we were gunning to see. Your thoughts?
I liked it.
What
It
about
was
what about it?
close to the ocean.
Yeah, it was close to the ocean. The city itself obviously has a lot of history. It went back and forth between Austria, Hungary, and Italy. It was an independent territory for a while, and now it's Italian. But I still think there's a sizable Slovene minority there. But we had already been in Slovenia a bit, so we didn't really need to seek them out. But after walking around for maybe about an hour and a half or so, yeah. The train ride went smoothly, and it was pretty apparent once you got there. Once you stepped out of the station, it was just swamped with people because, of course, everybody wants to go to Venice and thinks it's the most romantic place on the whole universe. It has its charm, can't deny that. The streets are pretty narrow, so yeah, if you try to lug like a rollerboard suitcase, a suitcase with wheels or something, it's not gonna work. So very good that we did not have such things. Some people did. Your thoughts initially?
It was less crowded than I actually thought it was going to be. Based on YouTube videos I watched, it was not that crowded.
Yeah. Let's see. We're in Venice now. Just a temporary stop on our way to Milan. We figured might as well since the train went here anyways to the island. So you can see there's a boat with or gondola with the dude rowing it. He's not singing though. No tips. We left Gorizia earlier, went to Trieste, checked out the concentration camp where my great uncle was. Interesting. Then before that, I guess we didn't update much on Gorizia. We found, yeah, the graves of my great grandparents pretty easily. It was like a 5-minute walk into Slovenia. And then there's a cemetery. Oh, there's a grave. It's not a big town. Anything you want to add?
It was interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. And then cars are pretty aggressive.
They don't stop at
Yeah,
crossroads.
yeah. Well, we'll be here three more nights, so hopefully.
It's touristy here.
Yeah, it's touristy as fuck. I mean, I'm glad we're not staying overnight here. Because I've read articles about the locals not being happy with this kind of stuff. It's a complex issue. It's a complex issue. I just wanted to make sure we don't stay here overnight because I thought that'd be a bit too much. Plus, it's cool to be here, but this wasn't on my, must-do list. Yeah, I was just mainly interested in the family stuff. So we'll go to Milan later. Maybe get dinner at 9:30. But that's what we have to do. The train doesn't get in until like 9 something. Okay, well, we'll sign off for now. We did manage to find some pretty cheap gelato. It was actually the same price as it was in Shimpi Prigurizi, but I like the one in Shimpi Prigurizi more. We did see a few more sites. Again, this wasn't a place that was initially on our itinerary, and we only budgeted maybe a couple hours between trains because otherwise, we wouldn't arrive in Milan where we were staying until quite late, which we already were going to do. We weren't going to get in until like 9:30, so it was in our best interest to just soak it in and not try to queue for anything that we didn't need to. Yeah, once you get out of some of the more touristy spots, it's not super duper crowded there, at least. But yeah, saw what we wanted to see.
Consultare il sito o rivolgersi ai canali di contatto di Trenitalia. Dear passengers, we inform you that if you would like to file a complaint, you may fill in the web form on www.
Says Metro that way. Five Guys. I must admit, by this point in the trip, we were somewhat tired, and that's also part of the reason why I didn't have enough footage for 2 episodes, just because I wasn't as diligent because I was exhausted. We had been doing a lot and going around. So we just decided, we'd see the cathedral, we'd walk around the area. We knew there was this also fancy shopping mall, which you'll see in a few seconds next to it. There was a bookstore in there. We checked that out. That was neat. Other than that, we didn't really feel like going into anything. There weren't any museums we were dying to see. As we'll explain in some other updates, the procedures to get, admission to some sites, like the Last Supper, for example, by Da Vinci, can end up being a bit cumbersome. And we just, yeah. This was more, we were taking it more the Italian way, at our own pace. For those who know us, we like Asian things, and there was happened to be a Chinatown in Milan, so of course we had to check it out. So that's what we proceeded to do. They had a grocery store there, which was cool. Ended up finding a Chinese version of Strong Zero, a drink I like, and because there was an abundance of food, we spent a while looking for food, as you'll see in the following clips. Your thoughts on Chinatown?
It was pretty big.
Yeah, a lot of Chinese people there as well, but mostly tourists, I think. Yeah, because a key giveaway about like how well established a Chinatown is if it uses traditional Chinese characters, which is what Taiwan and Hong Kong and China used previously, or if they use simplified characters, which is what China uses now. And this was overwhelmingly simplified characters, so this means it's probably more recent immigrants, appealing more to Chinese tourists and such. We did eventually find a place. How was it?
I liked it.
Yes, me too. As I had said previously, this was definitely more of a we were going at a more relaxed pace. Once we had finished our lunch in Chinatown, we took a walk to a nearby park, rested for a bit, took the tram back to the part of the city where we had been before, near the cathedral and such, in anticipation of going back to the hotel, because the hotel we booked, it was on a metro line, but as you'll discover, the metropolitan area of Milan is quite spread out. So it took a fair amount a fair amount of time to get back to the hotel, and we had to plan accordingly. It was still nice, of course, to walk through and see everything. It's a pretty city. But aside from, we checked out a bookstore, I remember, before we took the metro back, and we were by the cathedral once more. Just got some better lighting to take a picture. But other than that, it was, just walking around, not doing much else. And then next day. After a restful night's sleep and getting up a bit later, we decided to check out what translates to the Hebrew quarter in Milan, aka the Jewish area. And it was a bit of, as they say in Yiddish, a schlep from the metro station. And there wasn't too much there. We did have lunch at a kosher cafe, but other than that, it's, yeah, maybe not worth the trip.
We're getting
Yeah. After the Jewish quarter, we did take a tram back into the city, checked out a different part. I'm just sharing some pictures we took. We also wanted to check out the monumental cemetery, unfortunately closed that day. We did go back to Chinatown as well and got some chocolate dumplings, which I liked. Lynn, not as much, but it was cool. But again, this was just more a bit slower paced, checking things out. Went to a bookstore. Yeah. After exploring Milan a bit more, we headed back to our hotel because again, it was somewhat of a distance from the downtown area, and we thought it made more sense to try and find dinner there, so that way we could take it a bit easier instead of having to worry about taking a 30-40 minute train ride back to the hotel. So we walked around. We actually went to a grocery store first, which we'll see a clip up in a bit. I'm contemplating uploading the full clip of our grocery store journey, but just a preview here. And we did eventually find a good Italian place. I got some eggplant pizza, then got clam pasta. How was it?
It was good.
Yes, authentic. So, haven't done an update the past day. Well, we didn't do any one yesterday, but we're currently in the outskirts of Milan, walking back to our hotel after eating dinner at an Italian place. I'm pretty full. Thoughts about Milan?
Maybe a bit overrated.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty place, but usually when you think of Italy, you think of the sea and things associated with that. And obviously this is pretty far inland, not really any rivers. Some mountains around it, but it's also been quite hot. Stuff is either too expensive or you have to book 3 months in advance. Like if you want to see The Last Supper, the Da Vinci painting, you have to book it 3 months in advance, and you only get a 15-minute viewing window. So, we didn't get that, and maybe it would have been cool. But Chinatown's good. Chinatown is good. What else?
Went to the Jewish quarter.
Yeah, we went to the Jewish quarter. A little underwhelming compared to like Budapest or Prague. Public transport's pretty good here at least. So tomorrow we're gonna go to Zurich. Oh yeah, we're staying around Zurich in a town called Winterthur, because all the hotels in Zurich were way too expensive. But overall, it's been alright. I guess now we have less than a week to go until we go back to Denmark. 3 more countries: Switzerland, France, and Germany, then back. So yeah, it feels like it's gone by fast, but then it feels that we've been away for a while as well, as in it's been long enough where I'm thinking, damn, I actually have to go back and work, or I actually do stuff. So, and then you gotta get back to thesis writing. Okay.
Shit.
Yeah. Hey, don't say that. If we put this on YouTube, it demonetize us. No, it's fine.
You won't even get money for it.
No, I don't think so. I'm not doing it for money. But, yeah. I guess we'll try and do an update from Switzerland later. Tomorrow. We gotta go back. Waddle back because we're too full. I'm too full. Alright. Signing off.
Bye-bye.
And thus concludes our 3, technically 4-city journey through Italy. Final thoughts on any of the places?
I liked it.
Yeah. Obviously, most of our time in that video was spent in Milan, despite the time disparities. It was more just I didn't take as much footage and such because we were tired. And we did think Milan was okay, but maybe in retrospect, it would have been better to go somewhere along the coast because we're not like big spenders. We don't feel like shopping at Versace in the mall there or whatever. But yeah, thanks for watching, and be sure to check out our next episode where we go to Switzerland. See you.